If you're looking at this, you've probably completed the warning component of the simulation. And so this is going to be a debrief of some of my thoughts about what are best practices for considering a snow squall warning. Now, a lot of this is going to be subjective because there are many ways that you can do things right. I'm going to point out some of those, but they're not the only way. And when it comes to snow squall warnings, there's great latitude given to you, the WFO, to issue either snow squall warnings or special weather statements, even if you have a snow squall. So it's a lot to do with the societal impacts you think are going to happen and whether a warning is really needed because of those. Certainly, at night, you don't need to issue a warning if everybody's asleep and the roads are pretty much unoccupied. But you may be in a place where that never happens. And so it's kind of a careful balance between annoying people that are asleep and don't want to listen to their cell phones or radios go off and those that really need to know that are out on the highway. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of walk through the process here of the decision making that we go through. Now, we just went through a hazards analysis. I did the last debrief on that, and you've probably and hopefully have gone through several iterations of that during the course of the simulation. So we will go ahead and walk through a little bit of that. But really, the key thing is determining whether or not it's worthy of a snow squall warning. So first of all, did you determine if a meteorological snow squall is occurring? In other words, visibility that's less than a quarter mile, wind gusts greater than 30 knots, icing of roads, and all of those occurring with a rapid onset. And so if you think that was the case, then of course, then the next decision-making step or fork in the road is determining if a warning is required because of social reasons. Societal impacts may be something that requires a warning, and if not, then perhaps a short-term special weather statement is in order. So this is the big issue right here, determining whether or not you go down one path versus another. So let's go ahead and walk through the data. Okay, so we've gone through the analysis. We think we have a line, a snow band basically here along the cold front that is matching or exceeding snow squall criteria. And the question is do we go on and actually issue a warning or maybe perhaps a special weather statement? It's at 0330Z, and we could just go ahead and track the motion of this band here. I'm going to load up WarnGen on the lower right panel. This is the data that really kind of marks out the snow squall the best, at least at this time. If it was during the daylight, I probably would have more satellite data on here, especially the day cloud phase band with the visual view of the glaciation of clouds that may occur on top of a snow squall. But in this case, I have IR, and you can see that the cloud features associated with the band are fairly subtle. I know I have cloud top temperatures of minus 18 to minus 20, and some areas about minus 26. And I do have a leading edge here, but it really shows up best on the MRMS at least, or if you wanted to, from the Cheyenne radar. So let me go ahead and zoom in on the radar data, and I'll invoke WarnGen, and it's going to default to severe thunderstorm, but I'm going to have to go to other and select. In this case, I'm going to choose a snow squall warning. Initially, I come up with the track type as a single point. I really want to go ahead with a line, and I'll just start out. In this case, I'm at 3:06. My clock time is 3:30, and so I'm going to go ahead and just track the motion like this. You notice that there's some issues with the pivot in the orientation of the band. I'm going to have to be careful about that. Now I'll move forward a little bit. And another thing too is I want to make sure that my motion is perpendicular to the orientation of the band. I don't have unique cellular features in this line that I want to track. It's really the leading edge. So that looks a little bit better. And I'm going to go ahead and at that point just realign the track. And I have this. Now the question is do I have a warning already in progress for areas in Goshen County and then westward up here north of Cheyenne and Laramie County. If I do, then of course I don't have to pull the polygon back, but let's just assume I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and move this back a little bit, something like this. The key thing about a snow squall warning is going to be the area in advance of the leading edge of the squall. Cheyenne right now is roughly, oh my, it's fairly warm, 38 degrees. I've got winds, 9 gusting to 26 at this site here, for example. Mitar, 19 gusts to 27. Again, very warm. And with those kinds of temperatures, the conditions appear rather benign. This squall is going to bring a sudden change. So let me bring it up to about. I could bring it up to about 60 minutes here, for example, and I'll realign the track. Oops, and then redraw that area back a little bit. So that's at 326. If I hit that, and let's just assume this is fairly accurate, I'm going to go ahead and create text. Certainly there's going to be changes down the road, including changes in orientation of the line and intensity. So the text goes as this, and I have way too little here, as you can see. I didn't select any call to action or anything like that, so I really need to do that. I'm going to cancel out and add a specific call to action. So I have Doppler radar. Again, it could be visibility from stations, which, again, the Y-dot sites are extremely useful. Or during other times, it could be satellite data. So we have wind gusts. I think it's pretty much greater than 30 miles per hour. I have poor visibility, and certainly those are big things. At night, you don't really have a whiteout, do you? It's dark, but we certainly do have poor visibility. Let's go ahead, and a couple things that we want to do is one is we could say avoid or delay travel. I think at this time, while that's probably a pretty good idea, I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the reduced speed and dangers. This again is not a high-end event that I see where people should absolutely avoid at all costs or anything like that, but certainly reducing speed and controlling your safety margin is really important. I'm going to go ahead and just add a flash freeze because we are starting out above freezing, and there are going to be major changes here. So I'll go ahead and create text. And now this looks like it makes a little bit more sense. I have a line moving southwest at 10 miles an hour. Poor visibility in snow and blowing snow, wind gusts greater than 30. Mostly it's radar indicated right now, but I could actually put in I could put in radar and surface observations, and that might actually kind of say, where is this coming from here? And so I have all the observations in. I got the locations here impacted include Cheyenne to South Greeley, North Cheyenne, and the two call to actions. One is reduce your speed, turn on your headlights during snow squalls. The visibility may drop to near zero in whiteout conditions. And then wet roadways may quickly freeze. Black ice will cause roads, bridges, and overpasses to become slick and dangerous. And I think that's pretty appropriate in this case here. So I could send this out here, and oops, I forgot something here. My name and initials. So whatever suffices for your office, that's what you can go ahead. So I'll go ahead and put that out, and that's it. Now maybe the alternative is a special weather statement. So instead of going with the snow squall warning, maybe things are just a little bit marginal in terms of rush hour and everything else that perhaps I want to hold back. This isn't the most severe snow squall that's ever been seen, and given a little bit of a late hour, you might want to say, yeah, let's hold a little bit, and if that's what you want to do, then let's go ahead and change to a special weather statement. And in this case, I have the option in type of threat to select snow, a snow squall. At this point here, I still can adjust to 60 minutes. In fact, I can go up to 3 hours if I wanted to. So I think at this time, let's stick with 60 minutes. That does cover the uh, the Cheyenne area, which is really the main target that I'm looking at. And it does give me options afterwards to adjust because I have a feeling that given the changes in orientation of the snow squall, that my confidence in its future progression is somewhat limited. So at this time, I'll go ahead and kind of select wind gust to 40 miles per hour. Certainly no hail, but snow visibility around a quarter mile sounds like a pretty good selection right there. And any winter call to action that I might want to choose. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and select a couple of these here. And I think changing conditions slow down might be a good one. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the text. And at this point, now I have a snow squall that will affect east central Albany, southwestern Goshen, central Laramie, and southern Platte counties. And I have the snow squall oriented along a line extending from 10 miles northeast of Iron Mountain to 7 miles west of Carpenter, moving to the southwest. Winds to 40 miles per hour or more. All the locations selected, and visibility will drop to less than a quarter mile. I think that certainly seems reasonable. And the other one is use extra caution if you must travel in or through this dangerous snow squall. So rapid changes in visibility and potentially slick roads are likely. So I think that one is an alternative as well. If I select send, then I have special weather statement with a more modest dissemination. It won't wake everybody up and so forth. But I also have the option to upgrade if I feel like conditions are becoming more urgent. So at this point here, either two options, snow squall warning or a special weather statement. That's the fork in the road that you have the decision to make based on what you think would be the best reception out there.